In this tutorial, first of all, we are going to understand various tables and their classes used in Bootstrap, and then we are going to understand the difference between downloading all the Bootstrap elements and working with them into your machine, or using the advantages of a direct Bootstrap CDN such that many classes been revealed to us. And in the upcoming video, we are going to understand how to customize those tables. Hello and welcome to another new episode of Learning Simplified. In this tutorial, we are going to understand tables and classes used in Bootstrap. In this case, we have created another container. Now, for the time being, we are just creating another table. So let's create the table. Additionally, those have been created here are t-head and t-body. This is the only modification that we have to make in case of our Bootstrap tutorial. So we are creating our t-head over here. And this is the t-body. We have forgotten to create the row elements. So all we need to do, we first have to create these row elements. This is the first row. This is the second row. We are just creating some rows here. Now we will be creating the last row into our body part. Now as we are ready by preparing our table, now if we just look into the browser, we can see the output here. So just press Ctrl S, get back to your browser and reload. Now we can see that a table has been initiated over here. We are just providing a class into it. Get back to your project, reload, and now you can see that a table has been formed. This is the table that has been generated. Now in this case, you may use some bordered table. So in case of using that bordered table, all we need to do, we need to create this class which is known as table bordered. So if we create a class which is known as table bordered, now press Ctrl S, get back to your project and reload. And now we can see that a bordered table has been generated. These are the borders. Now we are using another table class here which is known as table hover. Let's press Ctrl S and get back to our project and we reload here. Now in case if we just move our mouse over these rows, we can see that the background is changing on being hovered. So this is the purpose of this class table hover. Now here another thing that we need to mention, there's another class that will put alternative background properties to your rows. Use another specific class to change the background colors of each alternative rows. Then the same thing can be done over here, same thing can be arranged over here. So that is why we are getting back to our project, and here we are using this particular class which is known as table stripped. Press Ctrl S, get back to your project and reload, and now you can see that each alternative rows inside your table, it is getting a changed background color over here, and as well as we are seeing that on mouse hovering the background color is getting changed. So these are the things that can be used together to create a table. Now the question is whether it is responsive or not. Now let's have a test here. All we are doing, we are adding more column over here, such as now get back to your project and reload, and now we can see that a discrepancy has been occurred. We can see that a horizontal scroller is appeared over here, which is not expected in case of mobile responsive view. Practically this is the requirement of making your site mobile responsive, that you don't need to scroll horizontally. There should be no horizontal scroller in it, but we can see in this real case that a horizontal scroller has been appeared, and it seems that the contents, those are practically out of the bound of the container that you have used over here. So we need to rectify it, and that is why we are going to use another class here which is known as table responsive. Now if we use the same class over here, table responsive, press Ctrl S, get back to our project, press Ctrl F5, then we can see that still the problem persists on. Now here comes the limitation of downloading the bootstrap.zip format from the getbootstrap.com into your computer, unzipping it, and then copying all the project into your mother folder or root folder and using them. This is the main thing that will occur. You will be missing some classes over here that is present only in Bootstrap servers. So to overcome this problem, you can use another div which will be known as div class table responsive. We are practically wrapping our entire table inside this div class which is known as table responsive. Now if we just press Ctrl S, get back to our project and reload, and now we can see that the horizontal scroller appears only in case of the table. The rest of the thing, those are remaining unchanged, and there's no horizontal scroller for the rest of the contents, but the only horizontal scroller that appears is inside your table. That means your table is now getting responsive over here. Practically this is a table class. As you can see over here, table border is a table class, table hover is a table class. So table responsive is to a table class, but it is not being used along with other table classes that we have used over here. There are some files, those are getting missing over here. This is the necessity of using Bootstrap CDN. If we use Bootstrap CDN over here, then we could possibly see that all those problems are getting overcome, and some more additional classes, those are working live. If we put here table inverse, press Ctrl S and get back to your project and reload, you can see possibly there is no change in your table format. Press Ctrl Shift M and enter into your normal preview. You can see that there's no change here, but actually you have used a table inverse class that seems to be not working. So that is why all we are going here, we are just for the time being commenting this thing off, and instead we are using this Bootstrap CDN over here. This is known as Bootstrap CDN. So all we need to do, we have changed here, we have linked this bootstrap cdn.css.min.css file over here. So all we need to do, we need to change this JavaScript file to, so far it is coming from your own root folder, but in actuality now we are just going to change it, pasting it. Now if we press Ctrl S, get back to our project and reload, now we can see there is a considerable change that is being observed over here. We have used another class over here which is known as table inverse. So that is why this is the output that is being observed. We have used table inverse along with table stripped, table responsive. We have used table responsive over here. So there's no need to use another div. We are using the same table responsive in the same tag that where other table classes are being mentioned. So now all we need to do, again we need to press Ctrl S, get back to our project and reload. And now if we enter into mobile responsive preview, now we can see that the table responsive class is now working perfectly as it should have been. While using Bootstrap CDN, we can see that this table responsive and table inverse, they are working properly. But if we just remove it off, if we do not use, instead if we just use this directly from our computer, then we will be seeing, let's get back to our project, reload, and we will be seeing that this bootstrap responsiveness or this table inverse class, those are not working properly. Just enter into your mobile responsive preview and you can see that your page is getting unresponsive again. So in that particular case, all you need to do, you need to isolate this table responsive from here. Another thing, we forgot to change this one. There it is, there you go. And we just remove this class table responsive from here, and we are now creating another div class separately. We are naming it as table responsive, And in a similar fashion, we are closing this div over here. There you go. Now just get back to your project, reload, and you can see that your table is now getting responsive again. So this is the thing that you need to consider while you are making your project. You may do it either ways. Either you can use their server by directly connecting this Bootstrap CDN to their server, and all you are doing, you are using their classes as we have mentioned over here, or you may download it off the internet in a .zip format, and you can use it into your project by copying all those files into your project. But remember, in this second method, some of these files, those will be missing, and some of these classes, those won't be working properly. As we see in this case, table inverse class, this is not actually working properly as we are not using this Bootstrap CDN over here. So this is the thing that you need to consider.